We are live. Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to another week of Soul to Soul conversations with Joy and Ame-Lia. So I'm just going to sing all of my words today because, no, I'm actually not going to do that. That's so irritating. Not going to do that. But I am in a great mood today for many reasons. One, the weather here in my town, it's beautiful and the sun is out, and it's going to be near 80 today, which is the first time since like winter or pre-winter. So feeling good about that. And I'm happy to be in this space. You guys, for those of you who show up and check us out week to week, first of all, thank you. And for those who participate in the dialogue with us, thank you. And we love hearing from you guys. And we show up here just to talk about things that are on our heart, thoughts that we have. We share our experiences, our life journeys in a way that's unfiltered. This is unscripted. It's not rehearsed. So a lot of times we're showing up and we're sometimes surprised to see what's coming up and out of us. And that's all good. We're committed to this because we're committed to being courageous. We are committed to running into places and spaces that sometimes feel uncomfortable when we know that there's something to be learned or gained on the other side of that. It's not easy, but it's rewarding. And we also show up here because we want to model and be an example of what it looks like to be able to have conversations with people. And when you come to places where maybe you disagree or you have a difference of opinion, being able to have curiosity in those moments and learn from each other and not be unkind, not become crazy and like spewing hatred and all those things that we too often see in the media. So that's another reason why we do this. So thank you for joining us. Last week or the week before, we started a conversation on money, which is one of those not easy conversations to have. Neither Ame-Lia or I are financial experts by any means. I'm not a financial planner, nor is Ame-Lia, but we realize that, hey, money is one of those topics that humans tend to struggle with. Money is one of those areas that we both have our individual backstory on, things that we've learned, things that we've experienced, things that we're in the middle of with respect to money. And so it's worth sort of pulling back the curtain and diving in with courage. So we're gonna continue on with that because we said that we would, and it's like, yeah, we're committed to this. That's what we're going to get into today, and whatever else comes up.
Thanks, Joy Ross. Yeah, so good to be here with you on this Wednesday. I want to add one piece to why we're doing this that came to me when you were speaking. I host conversations in circles, right? And one of the most powerful things that happens in those spaces is that as people are listening to other people's stories, they see themselves in the other. And that helps them feel like they are not alone. And it's so healing when we can do that, because most of us humans walk around thinking like, I'm the only one that has this problem. I'm the only one that has a crappy relationship with money. And it's like, no, not at all. So part of what we're doing here is normalizing things, and your normal might not be our normal, so that's okay too. We welcome those differences and really want to hear about them in the chat. So I just wanted to add that. And before we go too far, What are you celebrating, Joy, on this Wednesday?
You read my mind because I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, whoa, it is Wednesday, WINS. I'm celebrating stick to itness. I just created a word.
Love it.
Stick to itness. No,
Yes.
it's not in the dictionary, but it is a thing. And what I mean by that is there are several things like us committing to showing up here for a few weeks, as long as we feel that there's still more to be unpacked about money, and like sticking with it and saying, well, we said we were going to do it, so let's do it. I'm celebrating sticking to um, personal goals and things that I committed to doing for myself coming into the new year. And sometimes that's the hard things. I'm committed to really living out to the best of my ability everything that I share with other people. You know, I am a trainer, facilitator, sometimes in teacher mode, um, in my professional life and outside of my profession, right? There are groups that I lead and things like that. And so I'm lately always about sharing when I think that it can help other people, my stories. Um, and by story, I mean sharing the tough times that I've come through, difficult times, challenges, and most importantly, what got me through and what I learned. And that's not always easy. So I am celebrating the stick to itness that I keep showing up every day, and every day having a conversation with myself where I recommit to that way of being, because it's not easy to be that way every day. But I feel blessed. I'm happy. I celebrate me for being committed, no matter how difficult it is. What are you celebrating?
That new word. I love new words. You know, Marie Forleo has her book, Everything is Figure Outable. Figure Outable, you know?
Yeah.
Totally. I'm celebrating I made a huge commitment to my business this week by saying yes to going deeper in my own personal healing journey, but also reaching out and getting the support that I need in this moment right now. And speaking of money, that was a major financial investment for me. And that's exactly what I see it as, an investment. So I'm celebrating the fact that I have clean energy around this next step. And what it signifies to me is my commitment to my business, which is all about making a impact in the world. And I listened to this talk this week, and it was about the power of making a decision. You know, oftentimes we're like, oh yeah, I'm committed to losing weight, or I'm gonna do this thing and it's gonna be great. I'm gonna host this. I'm gonna launch a new program. You know, people say it, but we kind of have like one foot on the brake. And what this speaker said was like, well, have you decided that you're going to do it? Have you decided that you are going to sell 100,000 copies of your book? Have you decided that you are going to make whatever that financial figure is this month or week or year? Have you decided that you are going to show up differently with your partner? Have you decided that you're going to show up for your business? Like, and there's something energetically that happens when you get clear on that. And when you just ask yourself that question, what does happen is all the excuses start to come up. Where you're like, well, you know, well, I don't know, like maybe this and this will happen and it just won't happen. Like I don't have control over those things. And what we do is we hedge our bet, right? We're like, well,
Right.
protecting ourselves just in case the thing doesn't happen. But
Mhm.
energetically that creates that resistance of like, I'm going forward, but I kind of got the brake on. Um, so that's I'm celebrating understanding that nugget of wisdom and applying
Mhm.
it myself this week to getting clear that I am committed to my business and taking it to the next level.
Mhm. Yay, I celebrate you. So we're celebrating difficult things. C's, we're celebrating courage and commitment, right? I was celebrating in a word courage, and in a word, you're celebrating commitment because decision and commitment are tied. I'm going to go one layer under decision because as you were talking, what resonated with me is, ooh, yes, it matters when we decide, but underneath that, at a deeper level, it matters what we believe because we can intellectually decide, right? Like I could today say, oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go vegan, and that's I'm doing that from a from a headspace. Yeah, it sounds good. Yeah, I get that there's some health benefits perhaps, and maybe I just want to it'd be a different thing to do. Just want to shake things up and see what impact it has on my body. I could make that decision. But what really matters in terms of moving forward is what do I believe? What's my belief system
Yeah.
about my health and about my diet, right? What do I really believe that by becoming vegan, that's going to lead to an outcome that's aligned with my vision of who I see myself as, right? If I don't believe, it
Yeah.
ain't gonna work,
I
right?
think I
It's
think
not
that's
gonna
what
be
she was saying about
sustainable.
like the energy of deciding and all the stuff that starts to come up. It's like what comes up is all your limiting beliefs.
Yeah,
Yeah. So 100%.
yeah. And last week we left off, I had jotted down and maybe I think said toward the end of last week, ooh, we're getting into like the energy and beliefs. Like what do we believe about money? Because when we unpack the surface level things, what's underneath that? Um because whatever we have faith in, whatever we believe, that's going to be the thing that produces fruit, even more so than what we say, right? Because if sometimes we can say one thing, but we're not really believing it, and so there's it's incongruent, so it doesn't produce the fruit. So I want to get into that, like the money energy and what we actually believe, right? What am I talking about in practical terms? So what jumps out at me right now is with respect to money. um this question, do we really believe that there is abundance in the earth, or do we believe in scarcity? That matters, because if we believe resources are scarce, money is hard to come by. Ooh, yeah. Some people, money comes to, and for others, you're just sort of fated. I'm going to create another word, right? You're fated or destined to not have money. If we believe that, then our ability to receive is going to be hindered because we don't because there's conflict. um why is this important? And to me it's important, and what comes up in my mind right now as I'm talking is, think about all the people who have had millions of dollars and then file bankruptcy. Companies do it all the time. You know, our last president, you know, his company like filed bankruptcy. Like, companies do that all the time, right? And then they gain it back. What's the difference between losing everything and being able to gain it all back versus losing and never recovering? So to me, it has everything to do with how you see yourself and what you believe, um, in those deep places that maybe you don't even talk about. Maybe you're walking around and you see yourself as destined to live a life of poverty. If that's how we see ourselves, then we're going to have a hard time accepting financial opportunity when it comes. And even when we get money, we'll have a hard time holding on to it because the energetically, like if I believe I'm destined to not have money, if money comes to me, it's I'm going to be uncomfortable with that because it doesn't mesh with who I believe I am. Or maybe I don't trust myself with money. You know, maybe I grew up in a household where somebody had a gambling problem and it ruined the family, and there was divorce and a fallout, and so now I've internalized this view of, ooh, money equals destruction. Well, I don't want destroyed relationships. And if I think that money is the driver somehow connected to that, then I'll find myself subconsciously resisting money because I think deep down, this is not going to end well. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my question. What are we believing? And that matters. I mean, my money journey, and I've been on one. I would say I'm still on it, just like everything else, right? My life's not over. So I'm in a journey until the day that I leave Earth. So I have tried some things. I've tested some things. I've gone through a lot of therapy and to like unpack my own things and get to the root of what am I actually believing? And for me, that's included questioning my faith, right? Okay, Joy, you say you believe in God. You say you believe in the Bible. Okay, do you really trust that He loves you? Do you really trust that He's going to provide? Do you really trust that there is an abundance of everything? Do you really believe that? I now believe it because I've tested it out. And so now I have evidence that yes, there have been so many doors that have opened. And God does love me. I know that. There have been so many windows that have been opened as a direct result of answered prayer. So many things that don't even make sense in the natural in terms of opportunities. But as a direct result of me trusting and putting my faith in Him, when it comes to money, when it comes to taking care of me. So no matter what happens, because money comes and goes, no matter what happens, whether I have a lot of it or, you know, whether I haven't had a lot of it, my faith remains and things always work out.
I think that's important to remember. I think anytime we get attached to something, we're in trouble. And I love the Buddhist principle of, oh gosh, if it's like impermanence, I think that's what they call it, but just like nothing is forever. So just like if the more we can detach, the easier life flows. Like we can just be in that state of flow and let money come in and out, knowing that that's its natural way of being, just like relationships come in and out, and health comes in and out. Like it's just how it is. One of the things that came to mind when you're talking earlier is like the beliefs. I'm glad you really dug into that. And because I hang out in community a lot and have been to many different communities around the world, many of whom are impoverished. I was in India for a bit, where the class system is just like so ingrained. They call it the caste system there. And of course, in my epidemiology degree, I studied the class system in Europe, which directly relates your economic status with your well-being status. There's like there's an indirect correlation there, where higher wealth, direct correlation, higher wealth, higher health, lower wealth, lower health, and the interesting thing, and this might not sit well with some folks, is that if we got real, that there's a responsibility piece in this conversation about, like, if I'm creating poverty for myself, if I'm creating continuously losing money when it comes in, that if I'm not like looking at my beliefs and how they're contributing to this phenomenon, that I'm not really taking responsibility. Now, with classes, there are systems in place. There are messages from families. Like, for example, in the caste system in India, if you're born into the lowest class, it's essentially societal knowledge that you will stay there and you have no right to get into any other class system. And I'm sure we could think about all sorts of population groups that have been told that same message. And then the structures come in and the systems come in and just reinforce. But on that energetic level, on the belief level, what could happen if we started there and said, you know what, I choose not to buy into this. I choose to have a different belief. And it's difficult, especially when everything around you is telling you something different. And I believe that's the work that we're really stepping into now, as many societies and cultures are in their healing work and seeing, oh, there is maybe a new possibility for me, that more of this belief work will come into play. And I think that's when we're going to have massive transformation in our societal structure, in the financial structure, in how things look and occur to us in our lives.
Yeah.
So I wanted to say that. And just like on a really small note, we were talking before we went live, in terms of my own situation right now, where if I get tuned into reality TV, the financial system just doesn't look very good. Like there's negative balances, right? Like there's debt owing. And for a while, I've really beaten myself up over that. I've had shame just because of the messages that I heard growing up about what that means, and how paying interest is like the worst thing ever, all of these things. And that just didn't feel good. Right. And what it did is it kept like creating more debt. Like I'd be like kind of on the upscale, and then I'd get this unexpected bill and I'd be like, okay, there goes that, and if you're listening, maybe you can see some of these patterns in yourself. But today I choose to think about it very differently. Like I've looked at that belief and those beliefs, and I'm continuously unpacking them because it's a lifelong journey. And just said, you know what? I know I'm clear that that debt is an investment. Just like the mortgage I have, it's an investment in this condo.
Mm-hmm.
The debt I have elsewhere is an investment in my business, my life.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think about it like that, like it's just like, whew, it's just so much lighter. And I'm like
Mm-hmm.
looking forward to the opportunities, and the opportunities are coming. That's the thing. So I think I said a whole bunch of things there, but I was inspired by everything that you shared.
That was all good. And yeah, you said a lot of really good stuff. And I loved that in two words, what stuck with me was perspective, which was the last thing that you were saying. Really, I summed it up in a word. It's about how we view our circumstances, right? We could either look at circumstances and go into freak out, pessimistic, lack of belief mode. That's a choice, right? Or we can look at circumstances and view them the way you so eloquently just said. Yes, not denying the facts, living in reality, not in reality TV, thank God, because there's nothing real about reality TV, folks. We all know that, right? But like looking at the facts and okay, well, the fact is, yep, here there's debt here. Ooh, the fact is, paying more interest than I want to be paying. And the truth is, here are the reasons why, and I'm totally okay with that. And I know that this is all going to turn around, right?
Yeah.
So perspective, the caste system piece, fascinating to me. And it reminded me of here in the US, I think about, and I've been watching this series. I won't say the name of the group because it doesn't matter, but I've been watching this kind of like autobiographical series about very famous hip hop group. And whether you like hip hop or not, it's not about the music. What's really striking me and pulling me in is looking at these Black men who were born into poverty and all types of things that most of us, I don't know if we'd survive. And many people who grew up in the neighborhoods that they grew up with didn't survive.
Yeah.
However that went down, shot in the street, caught in the crossfires, brutalized by cops, who had issues. But I'm watching this and I'm seeing like this one character in particular that I'm just so fixated on because it's such an example of what is possible when we believe so strongly in something. And in his case, no matter what, whether there was food in the house or not, whether friends of his were getting murdered or not, like all types of really horrible external conditions, he had a gift of poetry. And he had a love for music, all types of music, classical, rock, pop, punk, R&B. And he believed in his own talent and he stuck with it. And even when people around him, including his mom and his brothers, sisters, closest friends, teachers in school, even when people around him were like, listen, dude, you got to get off of that because we got bills to pay. The rent has to be paid. Like we're about to be evicted. Stop this dreaming. What? You spent money that you really don't have on another turntable or on another album. He stuck with it. He believed in himself. Like there was no doubt in his own mind that he was going to make his mark in the music industry and yes, become famous, but more than that, become a force in the industry. And he did. And he brought his friends along with him, and they were one of the most popular, successful hip hop groups of all time. And then went on from there to do other creative things like in movies and other media. And so I've been like watching that, like stealing moments here and there over the past couple weeks. And I'm like, wow. And it raises the question, what do we believe? So for me, when I see that, something within me says yes. And if it could happen for him, it could happen for me, or it could happen for the next person or the next person. Faith really does matter. What we believe matters. And if we stick with, so on the money journey, right? Instead of focusing on whatever the facts are, and the facts may not be great, and the economy is not great right now, right? So I think for a lot of people, the facts are not looking like we want them to look, but keep believing that whatever that is that we were born with, you know, whatever talent, whatever gifts, invest in that. Stick with that. Like you were saying, Ame-Lia, you're looking at your credit card bills and it's like, no, but wait, these are investments that I made in me because I believe in me. And I believe that I'm doing some good in the world and this is going to make a difference. And whatever the vision is, that's what matters. And it does work. It is possible to be born into poverty. And yeah, India is different because of their system, but to me, it's really not different in terms of here. It is possible to be born into poverty in the projects and be Black and have all the odds stacked against you. People slamming doors in your face, people telling you that you'll never be anything, people looking for a reason to lock you up and throw away the key and just write you off. And yet, rise above that, rise out of that, and be a light in the midst of the darkness. Be an example of what is possible. Isn't that powerful?
Amen, sister. I love it. Ooh! So good. Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely. And it's like when you were saying facts, it's like, yeah, what facts are you paying attention to? Like, are you paying attention? Is like your bank statement the fact? That's the one you're going to focus on? Or are you going to start looking for other examples where that number means nothing? Look back in your own life at all the ways that you've been provided for, way more than you have not been provided for. Like that's the universe is just set up to have us succeed, period. And we help that along by paying attention to where our attention is going, because where our attention goes, our energy flows. And money is energy. And so, like, this is again back to it's our responsibility. And we can do this in a loving, compassionate way and surround ourselves with others. Find the people that will be on board with your vision. Yeah. Cool. So you're not going to tell us the
Well,
group?
the only reason I thought that I wouldn't is because I know sometimes people will click off, right?
Right.
And say, oh, hip hop, who cares about that? Or, oh, those guys, they have this and that and the other kind of lyrics. And I purposefully didn't, because it wasn't about that. It wasn't about the music or the lyrics. It was about his life story and what he believed about himself against the odds, even when the facts were stacked up, man.
Yeah.
So against him. Even when he had to do things like sell drugs. And I say had to because that's what it was. You know, it's easy to judge that, right? When we're on the outside and say, oh, you could get a job. Where they were, that was the only way to be able to get some bread and a gallon of milk and some ham to have ham sandwiches for a week or whatever. It was about me seeing him and saying, wow. And I believe in belief. So it touched my heart his story. And
Yeah.
it was such evidence of the power of belief. So, you guys, I just on an encouraging note, hopefully that encouraged you. And if you want to know, yeah, it's the, I don't remember the name of the show, but it's on Hulu. And it's the story about Wu-Tang Clan, which honestly, back in the day, I don't remember listening to a lot of their music. But it's that, and it's fascinating.
Cool.
So let us be encouraged. Whatever the facts are, we can choose to go deeper, right? And find what that is in yourself that you know is your God given talent, that you know is your God given gift that you're here to bring to the world. And don't give up on that. Invest in that.
Yeah.
And the money will come.
Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. I love it. Man, as I said before we went live, I was like, I don't know if I really want to talk about money today. And as soon as we got into it, it just got me all fired up. So thank you for having this conversation with me, Joy, and those of you out there that are watching the replay, let us know what is with you right now as you take in these words. What's a belief that you've become aware of that you want to flip and start diving into and really honoring in your life? This is an exploration, and it's hard. For a long time I was like, no, I don't want to look at my money beliefs. But it's like you have to, otherwise they'll continue to run your life unconsciously, and we want to get conscious and aware, and that's really what this whole evolutionary process is all about. So yay.
Thank you, Ame-Lia.
Yeah.
Just for being you and doing what you do in this space every week. So, you guys, we hope something was said that resonated with you, something was said that encouraged you, something was said to maybe reignite some faith, some belief, if you were at a point before watching this where you were starting to, where your light was starting to grow dim. And let us know what resonated. Let us know what your thoughts are. Yeah.
All right.
Until next week, love and